in and out in like 45 minutes. And then you can like boot up another tournament, or you can like be done with poker for that night. In addition, you have the opportunity, you can play as many tournaments as you want. Like it's common for pros to do something called multi-tabling, which is they'll do multiple like tournaments at the same time. Like if you want, you can do, for the beginners, I probably recommend you just do one. But for the regular league, like have at it. If you want to do like all 4 tournaments at the same time, like go ahead, to the extent that they overlap with each other a little bit. Okay, so that's the end with the prize league. So the schedule is, we're going to go through what I'm calling basic strategy, which are like the basic axioms that we're going to be using in order to analyze the decision-making process in poker. Then we're going to be doing pre-flop analysis, and we're going to be doing a lot of this because this is really like this is where the value add is going to be, is getting this right. I think the way that we can tackle this thing is kind of a way I recommend that you learn anything complicated. So we're going to break this down into 3 different sections, like fundamental concepts, practice, which are actually implementing those concepts when you have 10 seconds to make a decision, and then more advanced stuff. Okay, so with regard to concepts, I'm going to call this like the basic framework for decision making. It's like being unexploitable. Like you want to get to the level when you sit down at a table, every pro in the room doesn't turn and go, I want to sit at that guy's table. You want to be a slightly winning player way before you want to become like a huge winning player. In order to let you know the type of thing that we're learning, I'm going to label the slides with this to indicate that this is like a basic concept. Learn this thing before you move on. The advanced stuff is once you learned how to do things, which is like how to do things is pretty broad. We're going to learn like minor adjustments that we can do to get quite a bit of extra money, like how to grind out that additional like half big blind an hour out of our opponents. So any real deviations from what we normally do. In addition to metagame. Metagame is always fun. Like anything not related to the hand-to-hand decision-making process, like table selection, or like bankroll management, or like deciding whether or not to play. Like that stuff is really fun, and that's going to be indicated by this ace here. Okay, so I'm going to label those sides for anything that's considered advanced and stuff you should only really do when you get the concepts down. And then a lot of this class is going to be focused on practice, which is how to actually implement, these concepts on a day-to-day basis when you're actually playing. So, especially live, like we are not going to have all the information, we're not going to have like calculators, and we're not going to have that much time to make a decision. So how to like apply these in real time, making rules of thumb, figuring out what you can just ignore and what you have to definitely do, and then some of the psychology stuff related to actually performing live is going to be what I'm calling practice, which is going to be indicated by that poker chip with a theme. All right, anyway, so let's talk about what I'm bringing to the table here. So this course is primarily going to be from my perspective, and the decisions about what what I'm going to teach you here, and like the value calls I'm making is going to come from what I consider the appropriate way for someone to play poker. Like, so my background is that I was an online like multi-table tournament grinder, not because like I was a great pro, but because like I sat more than I played. Like I was definitely a person who did not play every single tournament. Like I told you, like the World Series of Poker has like 25 different tournaments, like 10 are Texas Hold'em, and then they have like an Omaha tournament and like a horse tournament, which is a combination of 5 different games. And what is common is that any like pro who plays one plays them all. like I consider that like ridiculous for someone who's actually interested in making like any sort of money or career playing poker. So I'm definitely someone who likes who prefers identifying value and like monetizing it. So anyway, so that's the perspective that I'm going to be teaching this course from. Like I like ROI, like it's a great like efficiency metric. I'm going to give some usually like you try to maximize your ROI up until the point where it's below some sort of hourly that you set for yourself. Because one of the ways you supplement ROI is by moving down in stakes. Like usually lower stakes are easier games, so you should have a higher win rate. But that win rate's multiplied by a much lower number. So usually you're going to move around in stakes until you like have a good ROI, but hopefully above what you consider your lowest amount that you can feel comfortable earning. In addition, I want to focus on live tournaments because who knows what's going to happen to online. Whereas I think live tournaments are very social. They're very public. Everyone knows who wins live tournaments. So I'm going to teach in a way such that focuses on these types of value metrics. Okay, so let's move on to some of the concepts and tools that we're going to learn. So we're done learning about what we're actually going to be doing during this class. So let's learn a little bit about poker. So first thing is we're going to be using Poker Tracker for a lot. So I'm going to email out exactly how to install this thing. Poker Tracker has donated 115 licenses to their product for us. And then our next lesson on Wednesday is going to be Joel Freed teaching us how to use it.